Welcome to another exciting episode of the Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Paperboy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
It's been said about advertising, Mr. Magazine, that it works 50% of the time. The problem is nobody knows which 50% works. And in other words, you're sitting there, you're advertising here, and yeah, you get people coming in, but if you could cut the exact half off that you don't need, you could get the same results with half the money spent.
Yeah.
What do you feel about advertising? Do you do it, and does it work?
I don't like doing it. I tried, stepping up big time and doing we did advertising at the ballpark. We did advertising on television, radio. And from a retail standpoint, it has not worked at all for me. All the money, I spent easily $50,000 in 10 years on it, easily. I don't think I've gotten back anywhere even near that, It's kind of cool. Oh, we hear your name on the radio. Oh, yeah, I saw you on TV. But when it comes down to it, they don't spend that money that pays for the advertising itself. The online stuff is a little different. We've been advertising with two different companies for 10 years. They could both be working. One could be working. I don't know which one's working, so I just pay for both of them and let them ride it out because, it pays for itself. So, I think we're number one in the toys, and we're up there with sports cards. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it's, what is it, a few $1,000s a year, so you're not getting hurt too badly. I wouldn't invest too much money in advertising. If you see it working, maybe you can step it up year after year. But I think people have more success online with Google and stuff like that.
Now, part of the advertising, of course, as they'll tell you, and you got to be very, very careful because they'll throw terms around that you and I don't know what they mean. The big one, of course, is SEO.
Yep.
And,
clicks. That's another one. The old clicks.
And it's been said before, the other thing, too, is you need to be very, very judicious about what you buy. And I've used this example before. You don't want to pay high for clicks on haircuts because it doesn't do you any good if you're in Rochester, New York, and lots of people are finding you in Seattle, Washington. Unless you're some really famous, to the stars type deal,
Yeah.
Beverly Hills kind of person, and people are flying out to see you. Otherwise, it doesn't do you any good. So you need to be very, very targeted, which you and I are laymen. We may not understand that, and the person selling us may say, well, I don't know why you're not getting any business. Why, right here you can see anytime you search haircuts, you're number one across the country.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Well, because, again, most of the country's not Rochester. Most of the country's not coming to Rochester to get a haircut from you, no matter how good of a job you do.
Right.
And I bring this up because there is he's not a competitor, but I'll call him a competitor, who gets an awful lot of house calls in the books business. And I often ask people how they found him. And inevitably, the answer is online. They search books, Rochester, and he comes up. And he gets a lot of calls locally.
Probably didn't pay a penny for it.
Well, I don't know I'm sure he paid something for the advertising.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm sure that he did, yeah.
Because I think on Google, sometimes you can put your own name out there and, I don't know, get your name up there. I don't know how it works, but if you somehow you can get up to the top over time.
Well, yeah, that is an important thing too. Of course, is the over time. The longer you're on there, the more established you are, and of course, you can pay some money to jump up and all that sort of thing. I'm certain that if I wanted to, you're saying you're right at the top of toys. I'm certain if I wanted to, I could be ahead of you in toys. I may have to spend a pretty penny to do it,
right.
But I'm sure. Again, you said you spent $50,000 over 10 years on various types of advertising. I'm sure if I went in and spent $50,000 in a quarter,
yeah,
I better be ahead of you.
You'd probably be toys in the country or close to it.
I better be.
Yeah.
If not, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I just was kind of wondering from you because, again, this gentleman gets a lot of house calls. Now, he's nice enough to, turn the ones on to me that after he's picked it, or if he's not interested and he turns it on to me. So it isn't really much of a competition, and besides, I don't need a lot of stuff right now anyway.
True.
But I kind of was wondering your experience with it, and because I'm sure other people out there as well wonder. I'm sure some people out there do advertise locally, and it could be something as simple as going to the antique mall and putting up a little thing up on the bulletin board out front. Hey, if you've got some obscure little thing that you buy, license plates, and for all you know, people might end up calling you with license plates when they have it. Or, obviously the advertising that I do is I do pass my business card around like Halloween candy, I always say. Just pass it out to everybody on out there, and it pays off. People do remember me. People do give me a call and all that sort of thing. But you've gone to TV, the radio. You've never done. How about, have you ever done any of the print ads? Nothing in a newspaper or anything like that?
No, nothing like that. I tried those mailers. That didn't work. I tried it multiple times. There's a local guy that's always coming in and wants to do it for the laundromat. And we tried it out. It just was a waste of money.
Now, how about another thing too to think about that I've never tried, and I don't know if you ever have or not, but it's something other you might think about in your local area. Sometimes they sell the advertising on the cups at the local restaurants.
We did try that.
You did?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Did that work or no?
No, anything for, I think, a retail store for a small business is going to be very hard to pay off. You're going to have to spend some big bucks.
Okay, because I kind of was wondering about that as well, and I guess my thought about the cup, I think it's
it's cheap and affordable, but there's not a lot of people looking at it, and out of those people, few people, how many want what I have to sell, and how many are going to spend money, if you know what I mean. So,
well, see, and as a coffee drinker, I think it's a great idea, because when I'm sitting there with my cup of coffee, I'm sitting there reading the cup over, seeing who advertises. So for me, it at least gets me, noticing, and I notice who the people are. Mm-hmm. I think it might work. The one hand, I think it might work in a small town, but on the other hand, if you're in a small town, everybody knows who you are anyway. So do you really need to do that unless you get a lot of tourists in? I guess if you're one of those touristy small towns.
Yeah, but just like my laundromat, I've hardly advertised it all over, 20. It's been there 50 years. I've been running it 20 or so, but don't need to advertise. People, word of mouth, whatever, they talk to each other here, they drive by it. So.
Well, but you also are advertising in the phone book, correct?
Yeah, it's pretty much almost free at this point now, because I think 3 people read out of the phone book at this point. At least in Rochester, it might be 4 or 5.
Somewhere else
in Syracuse, I don't know.
So hopefully that helps you a little bit there. I know that they're going to push you. You're going to get pushed, especially as your business grows. Advertise. Don't know whether it works or not. How about influencers? They could probably find some influencers and advertise with them.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a big company like, I don't know, Smuckers or somebody or other like that, Doritos.
Yeah, that would be good.
We'd love to be sponsored by them.
Absolutely.
Hey, you got to try. But another thing we have to try and beg for is for you to
hit the like button.
And we'll see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.